All right, welcome back, y'all. Welcome back to Resilient Voices and Beyond. I'm so excited for today's episode. Some of you guys that have tuned in, yesterday, saw that I released 3 episodes in one day. I recorded them and released them in the same day. Except because I can't speak today, except one. One was recorded the day before last night, but I released it the next day. But two of those was recorded and released. But first and foremost, before I get into the depths of everything, thank you guys so much for your support. Not just for me, I'm always gonna say thank you for the support and the connections and the networking that you guys have done with the guests that I've had on here. When I started this platform, I wanted to be a vessel. I didn't know what direction that vessel was going to be, but in multiple ways, in more ways than not, just being that space for people to be able to connect, people to grow, people to heal, and people to be safe and sharing their stories. So I just thank you guys for being kind, being supportive, and helping those individuals out, and just also being supportive to me. There's some weeks when things is because ESPN want to tell me what's going on right now. But there's some weeks when things um, just ain't going right in my own life. And I see somebody's comment, whether it be on the YouTube channel or what have you, and it just uplifts my spirit. It refuels me. So I thank you guys so much. Y'all keep me going. Just keep the support going. With all that being said, if you have stumbled across this podcast and you like, who is this person talking? I don't even know what podcast is. I'm just here. My name is Michael D. Davis Thomas, aka MDDT Speaks. I spent approximately 11 years in the Michigan child welfare system. Half of that on the juvenile side, part of that little space in between being a dual ward, and then the last half of that being in the foster care side until I aged out. Around 18, I started to work in the child welfare space, doing panels with foster parents, incoming workers, um, doing youth care work, juvenile corrections, working my way into policy, helping on different legislation acts and bills and different things like that. You name it within child welfare, I've dipped my toe in it at this point. So that's what led me to be here. Not just no random person talking out the side of their neck. I have lived experience and professional experience in the game. So I'm here to just help you guys learn, help you guys start your own healing journey or whatever you get from this. But you guys ain't here for me to talk. I can talk y'all heads off. But without further ado, I'm gonna have my guest introduce himself.
Hey, happy Saturday, everyone. The sun is shining on both sides of the street today. I'm Jonathan Norris, a foster care specialist for the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services. Uh, I don't know. After that, that's a hell of an intro, bro. I don't know how to follow with that. I always like to say my hand's been in everything but a wedding ring. A lot of community service work. uh, uh, a Detroit native, just all around a good guy, I would like to think.
Definitely, definitely. I appreciate it. I'm gonna try my hardest not to be laughing this whole time because these sayings these sayings begin me every time. But we're gonna have a good time.
Yeah.
I like to start these off by diving a little bit deep, and kind of getting to know you a little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
So the audience can be able to build that what I call like a trust bridge as they're listening to this. So to the best of your ability and whatever comfortability that you have,
Yeah.
give us a timeline of events to start you that started you in this work, significant moments, any barriers, any obstacles you had to overcome, leading to your now, and why you're so passionate about what you do.
Yeah, I would like to say thank you, bro. Honestly, God, first and foremost.
I know that's right.
I mean, literally, take it back. Grew up on the west side of Detroit. Single parent household, only child, but I had both parents in my life. Mom and dad co-parented, raised me. I was raised on, if any, for those who listening, you familiar with the West Side of Detroit, the Joy Road and Livernois area. I'm from that neighborhood. I always say I seen the best of both worlds growing up. Having a mom and dad, and it was interesting. I had love in the home. Mom loved me, dad loved me. I bounced back and forth between Joy Road, Livernois, and over Granny's house, East Warren and McClellan. For those who know 94 Gratiot area, that was dad and Granny. Um, um, I grew up loving home. I grew up with I would like to say a stable foundation. But I grew up witnessing a lot of violence growing up. The first time I seen somebody get shot, I was 8. The first time I seen somebody die, I was 13. I was outside playing. Actually, it was the Sunday. When I was 8, it was the Sunday after Thanksgiving, 1998. Me and my mom was outside putting up Christmas lights, and some individuals had a misunderstanding, and one thing led to another, and subsequently someone got shot. I was 8. I pulled my mom in the house because she was paralyzed from fear. That was the first incident. But as I got older and I became a teenager, I was the only child, so I always shared with my friends. My mom always told me to treat my friends like my brothers. So I developed relationships with a lot of guys in my neighborhood. And yeah, I seen a lot growing up. But from there, as I grew older, I always had my eye on college. My dad always taught me the importance of school. So as I grew older, he always put that in my head. He was a guy who worked from being a security guard to where he was in his agency. I don't want to put that on here, but I seen it done. And in the same breath, on my mother's side of the family, my uncle went to the federal penitentiary when I was younger. I had family members who went to prison, childhood friends who were involved in the streets, but I stayed away from that stuff. I just focused on school. And as I just became older, I always wanted to do something with my life. I always knew that I had a gift. I didn't know what it was. I just always believed. So I don't want to get, I got lost in thought, but yeah, I think it was a combination of things I've seen and things I've experienced just growing up what led me to do this work. It's a lot more we can go down, but
Definitely.
yeah.
I want to, if you don't mind me,
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
want to talk about something you mentioned. I don't know if you noticed you mentioned it, but like at 8 years old, to have the strength when your mother, as an adult, was paralyzed with fear, to pull her in the house. And I grew up in Detroit. I had most of the audience know, and me and you talked before. I grew up in an abusive household, so there was a certain level of resiliency that came out of survival. But I speak in little bits and pieces about like what it looked like back then, and still to a little bit today, growing up in these urban neighborhoods in the midst of recession, and all these other things, when a lot of parents was trying to make a way, and it wasn't. You can stay on the best part of Detroit and still witness the SWAT team breaking into a household. So like to speak to that, for a minute, just that, I don't know if you remember, but what was going through your mind? Was this something that you had? Oh, this is Detroit,
Yeah.
Or what was that for you, if you don't mind me asking?
Yeah, I guess like most Black households, I grew up hearing gunshots. My mama told me, "Hey, get on the floor." So that was the norm. So when I remember it. If you want me to detail it,
feel free.
Yeah, we were outside putting up Christmas lights. It was the Sunday after Thanksgiving, 1998. We put up Christmas lights, And I remember it was a guy down the street and two guys, they was masked, they had on masks, ski masks. They jumped out the car. One guy had an AK-47, another guy had a big chrome pistol. It was a long barrel gun. And they were arguing. I remember it was something I heard, like, where's my money? That's all I heard was something about money. And then I looked to my mom, and then I looked back, I seen the flash of the guy who had the gun, the handgun. I seen him shoot the guy who he was asking where's the money. So he shot him. So it was another guy that ran to the cars. It was a car that was parked. And then when he got in the car, a guy who had an AK shot him, and it hit the back of him through the car. So he crashed into the house across the street. My hand to God, I ain't making this up. So when he shot him, I ran in the house after the second shot. So when I got in the door, I turned back around. My mom was standing there. My mom was just paralyzed. I come back out, I grab her arm and like yank her. So as I yank her, then she woke up, and then we ran upstairs, went in the house. I locked the door, and we got down, and the rest is that. And it was, needless to say, it was a lot of police presence there after that. And I can speak from that from a different couple different perspectives.
Yeah, I spoke on here a couple of times sharing a unique story about when I was younger. I remember it started to be a consistent thing, but I remember the first time it happened, me waking up seeing, I guess it was a pimp. He had an aluminum bat, and I'm assuming he sold drugs too, but he was hitting this lady. And I remember that vividly happening. It was a Saturday morning. The reason I know it was a Saturday morning, old school music was playing.
Yep.
We was up cleaning.
Absolutely. You had Anita Baker going for sure. Off top.
So I remember that, and that's like ingrained in my memory, amongst many other things. But I wanted to, I wanted you to share that to kind of set the tone, you had a loving household.
Yeah.
Two parents that worked together to raise you.
Yep.
But still, I've been talking with a couple of different people who had, trauma and different things like that. But, coming from a different perspective of abuse, neglect, in some ways that affected your decision making growing up, and probably wanting to help people. So that leads me to my next question. When did you decide? I don't know if it was in college, the work that you do now was the route that you wanted to go.
I didn't choose this. God chose this for me. So it goes back to high school until I could kind of give a brief scenario. So as I grew older, and I had a father in my life, I had uncles, so I was always, and then older guys in my neighborhood, they always seemed to gravitate towards me. So I was always around older gentlemen in my life. So as I got older, I kind of carried myself older because I was around older men. So in high school, especially, I became a sophomore, senior. The youth, especially in my neighborhood, and people I went to high school when I was younger, they all kind of gravitated, looked up to me. A lot of them started calling me big bro or cousin. And then from there, my whole vision was to go to college, and because I wanted to talk on the radio. I went on a black college tour when I was in 11th grade. That changed my whole life. Like, just seeing how our people conducted themselves on black college campuses and across the nation. And I'm telling you this for a reason, because it connects to this day. So we go to the black college tour. So my mom made up, man, I'm gonna go to HBCU. So come back home my senior year. So my 12th grade year, I lost my job that I had the summer of 07. So that fall of 07 was my 12th grade year. I didn't have a job. I had a little car. So I was doing whatever I could just to put gas in my car, taking bottles to the store, Just getting money from my mom here and there. My mom was working 2 jobs. My dad, he was going through what he was going through. So I was just fending for myself. So I always went to class though. I always got up, went to class. So 12th grade, my grades weren't the best. So I applied. The only college accepting was Clark Atlanta. So summer '08 is when I graduated high school. So I graduated the summer of the recession. For those who old enough to remember summer '08, city of Detroit, summertime was treacherous. It was a very wild time, summer '08. That's when I graduated. Gas was like $4.75 back then. It was something crazy. You remember that, Mike?
But I'm riding a bike.
Bro, for real.
I'm walking.
Yeah. And I go to, so long story short, man, I ended up going to Clark. Clark, first semester partying, second semester depression hit me hard, man. I was real homesick. I ended up flunking out of school. So I flunked. I come home May of 2009. Now this is division. This is when you asked about key events in my life. It's a couple that I'm going to correlate to this story. So summer of '09, I'm at home. I'm on my block in front of my mom's house. I'm leaning against her car, and I'm like, I'm looking up and down. It was a beautiful day. My guys outside, there's a couple kids out there. It's a beautiful day. And I remember I was like, man, I'm going to be a failure. I remember telling myself that. And then I looked. I was like, you know what? I'm about to just do this. I ain't know what it was. Sure enough, a couple of days later, I go over to a close friend, go to his house. His mom, she's on the computer. She was like, why don't you go to Henry Ford Community College with him and just get your grades up and just, take 2 steps back and take you 10 forward. So I said, okay. I apply, go to Henry Ford Community College. I ended up going there for 2 years. I ended up getting my grades high enough. I ended up getting a grant to go to Wayne State. So from there, I did Henry Ford for 2 years. Then I went to Wayne State for another 4. So by this time, I'm 21 when I go to Wayne State. So Wayne State's my 3rd college at the time, So at this point, I'm a grown man. I left home at 21. And then from there, I started working at a plant, a little parts plant, just to support myself. And I ended up putting myself through Wayne State working at the plant. And then from there, I was just grinding, hustling, just trying to run it up. And 25, I got my degree. I got my degree in criminal justice. So let me go back. I ended up changing my major to criminal justice at Henry Ford because, to go back to what you were saying, we grew up watching the task force raid homes and hit our block and everything. So I was watching the show. I don't know if people remember, it's a show called DEA. I was watching DEA and I'm like, you know what? I could do that. It was just a thought. So I changed my major to criminal justice on a whim at Henry Ford. So then when I get to Wayne State, I end up interning at ATF at Wayne State. So I learned a lot of things interning at ATF. So I get my degree 2015. I'm 25. So at this point, it took me 7 years, 3 different colleges to get a 4-year degree. But I didn't stop. I just kept going. I just kept grinding. So 2016, I take the test for ATF. ATF flunked me. It's a wrap. So I done interned with them. I did all of it. And then I take the test in this OV. Man. So then I'm like, okay, so what's going on? So y'all still working at the plant. I'm not doing much of nothing. From there, a list of things happen, but I just want to break from there, man, because I'm gonna leave it at that. But yeah, bro, that's it's a connected story.
Definitely. Yeah. I appreciate you sharing that.
Yeah.
It brings me back to, even now, on my journey, I'm still in school.
Yeah, absolutely.
Navigating, school after starting out college, going through the flow, not really paying attention, just was ill-equipped, to be honest. Then stopping out college, getting back in college in the midst of, the beginning of COVID.
Yep.
Um, and then transitioning down to move back down here, picking up a job that didn't even give me the flexibility or time to even try to go to school,
Mm-hmm.
to be back now at a point where I'm like, okay, let me try to finish.
For real.
And
Yeah.
I talked to a couple of people and I'm like, at this point, Michael, I've asked myself this question, and kid you not, like, because I've been honest with y'all out there, so I'm not gonna stop being honest. I've asked myself, Michael, what did you get a degree for, Michael? You've done most of the stuff you was getting at a degree for,
Yeah.
you know. And it's real, But for me, it's the aspect of completing,
Absolutely.
but also, when I was going through placement and stuff like that, one of my favorite subject was history.
Mm-hmm.
And I paid really close attention to when they was telling us stuff about our people in history. And one thing that always comes back to me when I think about quitting is too many people has fought for this opportunity
Mm-hmm.
to even just have the privilege to go. And
Mm-hmm.
of course, I've had to endure going through the system to have the privilege to go to school.
Mm-hmm.
But I endured. So, as long as I have the funds, I'm gonna keep
Mm-hmm.
going until I
Mm-hmm.
finish.
Mm-hmm.
But
Don't stop.
I commend you because working at the plant ain't for the weak.
Yeah.
And I'm just thinking I want to ask so that did they have air conditioning in there?
No. I've been, I've been there when people have passed away from heat exhaustion.
Hmm.
I've worked in those conditions. I worked when I was working at the plant going to Wayne State, I was working 40, 50 hours a week. And then I was getting up, sleeping in between class. I was sleeping in the UGL, or I would sleep in my car on Forest, or
Mhm.
Warren. Then I grab something from a Coney next to Potato Place on Warren and Cass, and then get up out of there and go to work. I worked the afternoon shift, 4 p.m. to 2:30 a.m. So that was my everyday life. Working at the plant saved my life as well. Because as I was getting older and working, and my childhood friends, long football stints in prison, passing away, I've seen everything what the streets has to offer up close and personal, from a sideline point of view. So
So
go ahead. I'm sorry.
we were talking before, and
Mm-hmm.
one of my thing that I'm gonna always say it because it's been too true for me not to say it,
Right.
is that nothing good comes without sacrifice.
Right.
And a lot of people hear the word sacrifice and they automatically go, "Oh, sacrifice. Oh, that's negative. What you mean?"
Yeah.
I believe whether you believe in God, universe, whatever. You
Mm-hmm.
know, I believe that, when you are trying to get to a certain destination, and let's just say a degree,
Right.
you're gonna have to endure a couple storms. In
Absolutely.
those storms, in those storms, there are lessons to prepare you for the task once you get to that destination.
Right.
So say you got 4 or 5 suitcases of baggage.
Right.
As you are walking through TSA to get to that airline gate, which is your destination,
Mm-hmm.
you gonna lose a couple different things of baggage, whether it
Absolutely.
mean a toxic relationship,
Yeah.
whether that means some childhood trauma that you had to heal through or
Yeah.
work through with a therapist to be prepared to go to class and take your notes,
Yeah.
whatever that may be. It's not always something negative, but I tell the kids that I mentor a lot that, okay, your goal is to get a steady job. And this is before, marijuana became legal in
Mm-hmm.
certain stuff like that. What if what you have to sacrifice to get a steady job is to stop smoking? Are you willing to do that?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
What if the only thing stopping you from stability, security, in your life
Mm-hmm.
is to stop doing this one thing? Are you willing to do that?
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes that's the sacrifice in an example for most people. It ain't something that it may be huge to the person. I ain't gonna say it ain't, it may be really big to them. Like you mean what? But when we look at it in a broader spectrum, oh, that's easy. Do that. Because when you get to that destination, you don't even think about that thing, you sacrifice.
Right.
But I just share that because, like no matter what, when you're speaking about your journey through school and the different things that you had to do to endure to get there to that destination, you look at your now, I'm pretty sure you remember all the things you did, but you like, would you say it was worth it?
Absolutely. Damn, man, you had me get emotional, man, because it was a lot. I think you brought something back up when you talking about opportunity. Like I had to go get it. Like I had to, because I know a lot of good men that lost their lives out there in the field that didn't have the opportunity that I had because they didn't have the foundation or they wasn't exposed to what I was exposed to. So that was always in the back of my head too. My friends, they lost their lives prematurely when we were children, kids, and especially being a 33 going to at this time of recording, going to 34 in a couple of months. You look back, they were 21, 19. They were kids, you know what I mean? We were kids. So to answer your question, yeah, I sacrificed a lot sleep. It was, you talking about winter times, I'm sleeping in the car. because I got to go to class or because I flunked my first year of school, and then Henry Ford that first semester, my grades is terrible, man. My mom was like, man, my mom and dad was like, you better get it together. Like you out here playing. And my bad, I was just distracted by other things as a 19, 20-year-old man, you know what I mean?
Right.
Things is going to say the very least. You know what I mean? So I was so it was a lot. So, I want to take it full circle. So I was 20. So now I'm 26. After I didn't graduate from Wayne State, ATF turned me down. So now I'm just applying to just random different jobs.
Mm-hmm.
My old man, he passed away January 26, 2017. His mom, my grandmother, she died January 26, 2005.
Mm-hmm.
I almost flunked ninth grade because when she passed, I just hit. And then 12 years later, the exact day he died. My dad was everything, man. We had our ups and downs, but he used to keep me like, yo, you can do this. You can go. My mom too. You can go. They always supported me. But when he passed, man, I ran out of gas. I didn't know it. I didn't know it at the time. I was spiraling out of control. I don't get emotional about it because it was a lot, man. It tied into. So fast forward, second vision I have. So you remember the one I had in 2009 when I flunked out of school. So 2018, now this is the summer of 2018. I got my degree December of 2015. So it's going on 3 years out of have my degree. I'm still working at the plant. Nobody will hire me. So I'm riding down Joy Road. I'm riding down my neighborhood. Cause when I used to, to this day, when I ride, I think I listen, I have my music playing. If anybody who know me know, that's what I do. I ride my music up and I was just riding through my neighborhood. And I was just, at this point, I'm 28. And I'm just like, man, everything that didn't transpire from when I was a kid, I'm just riding through the neighborhood reminiscing. And then I'm on my block now, I turned on my block where I grew up. I parked in a friend of mine's driveway and I jumped out and I sat on the hood of the car. And then it kind of came to me again. And I was just like, you know what? I'm about to just do this. I'm 28 at the time. I had the same vision that I had 9 years previous in front on the same block. Mm-hmm. So from there, a good friend of mine, wife told me, hey, listen, there's no black men in social work. You ever thought about using a degree to go to, I'm like, what you mean? Like, yeah, CPS? I'm like, nah, I heard about it. She's like, no, what you think about that? I'm like, cool. That ended up being the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services. So I apply July 2018. Get an interview with Wayne County, interview with them. Wayne County turned me down September 2018. I had a nervous breakdown when I got the email. I was at work. I was on the high-low. I jumped off the high-low and I had a nervous breakdown. I was just like sobbing. I'm like, yo, I had my degree going on 3 years. I'm still at the plant. Like, what's going on?
Mm-hmm.
I ended up calling a good friend of mine. Let me tell you about this good friend of mine. Me and him, we went to high school together, and I don't want to name drop. I have to name drop this man because his brother changed the trajectory of my life. Mr. Emmanuel Ogwa. Manny, yo, you listening? I love you forever. Manny, good brother. 2018, let me fast forward. He had sent me a message on Facebook like, bro, what's up? I want to connect with you. We ended up connecting. Around the time I flunked, Wayne County turned me down. So when I get off, when I'm telling him I have this nervous breakdown, I call him. I'm like, bro, I don't know. I said a few choice words that I can't say on here. And he was like, bro, listen, just come, just pull up. When we talking to some kids at Spectrum facility in Highland Park, just pull up. And that changed the trajectory of my life. So I ended up going, it was called Project Reentry. We end up working with young kids in the juvenile detention facility, helping them tie ties, resume. So at this point, I could help you with a resume. You know, I didn't necessarily have a job at this point, but I had a degree. I could tell you how to get through school. I was just telling my little life story at that point when he invited me to go to speak at Project Reentry. I'm going to say another brother name because this man changed the trajectory of my life too. That's where I met Mr. Tucson Knight. Mr. Knight had a program called Caught Up, which I was invited to come mentor them young boys on the east side of Detroit. That changed my life because at this point, at the end of 2018, I'm connecting with these brothers. We mentoring in the community in the juvenile jails. So mind you, after I flunked that test, after Wayne County turned me down, I reapplied the next month, October 2018. All of this going on simultaneously. We working in juvenile jails, we mentoring on the east side, and then I reapply to DHS Oakland County. Mm-hmm. I get an interview with Oakland February 2019. They hire me March 2019. Boom, at the same time, we taking off with the mentoring thing. So at this point, I'm 29. So I first started going to college when I was 18. From the time I was 18 to 29, it took me 11 years to graduate college and get a job. Mm. But how God worked and how God put these different pieces together. So when I'm working at CPS, now I get invited to come to Wayne State and talk about my life story to that point. And like I said, it was God because I never thought about getting into social work or CPS. But how I got to foster care, that's another story. But I'll pause it right there.
You know,
I too long-winded. My apologies.
No, you good. You good. I like to ask questions with intention. You know,
man, you be having me. You about to have me do some healing on here, bro. Thank you. Go ahead. Go ahead, man.
Look. That's what we here for.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I remember when I was in juvenile, the scripture is my favorite scripture today. I always mess up the numbers, but I know it's in Matthew. Say, which today is, tomorrow is cast into the oven. Mm-hmm. And I used to read that to myself, say it out loud all the time. And then I start to reflect and understand it for my understanding of what I thought it translated to. Mm-hmm. You know, I know many people read different scriptures and they get a different point of view. So from my understanding, well, sometimes either ourselves or the blessing that God has for us has to take some time to be cooked, to see, to marinate. So as you are telling me that, like, it took 11 years. Yeah. I want to ask you, at the first time, sent in your information, for Wayne County, were you done cooking? Were you ready?
I thought I was, but like you said, it's not my timing, God's timing. You know what I mean? Looking back, no, because you know me, man. I'm at this point, man. I'm 28, man. I'm man, just running, hitting the bars, drinking, just balling, tearing the malls. I'm just really wasting time. Cause I'm like, okay, I got a degree, but I got a job to support myself. But you look up and it's like, that was another moment. I remember being in the club and just having all the champagne and I was just like, man, I ain't doing nothing with my life. I remember just telling myself that, like,
Loading.
I'm talking about full blown party going crazy. And I remember just like, man, I'm playing. Cause I just knew it was more for me. Like deep down in my soul, Mike, like I just knew it was more for me. I just knew I could do something. You know, I just knew like after all that I've been through, I knew like I'm here for a reason. You know, I didn't even tell you about me gaining double my body weight, coming to DA and then losing it. You know what I mean? And my whole, and people who know me know the whole health thing the transformation I went through. You know, abusing alcohol, drinking the fifth a day, going through some real severe depression, things that I've had to work through. And I thank God for those trying times because it gave me the testimony I got now. You know what I mean? So yeah, bro, man, we can sit here and unpack a lot.
look, I appreciate it. I appreciate it because I firmly believe, you know, and I say this a lot, you know, I've had a few African American guys on here, you know, and not even just African American BIPOC guys, you know, and we are few and far between. Like even today, like it's not a lot of us in this space of child welfare or social welfare,
right.
you know, and I believe it's time for us to tell our stories to help the next generation. And I believe that, you know, by doing that, by us letting them know that there's going to be some times where you're not going to be okay, but it's okay to not be okay. Or what it's not okay with, and I'm going to say it, you know, it's to be okay with self. Find yourself some people, which, you know, you find yourself some people, you know, connect with them people, let them people feed into you. And sometimes you're going to get to a point where you have nothing to give or offer anybody else.
Right.
But, you know, you get connected, you know, and it's crazy, you know, for me, you know, y'all know I'm a person that faces crazy how God works, you know, because he has sent you some people that like, I don't want nothing from you. I just want to help. They hit you with that line. I don't want nothing from you. I just help you get to your destination.
Yep.
You know, and I've been lucky to find a couple of people like that. It sounds like you found a couple of people like that fed it to you, you know, believed in you, and built the camaraderie, you know, and helped you get to that place. I want to switch gears a little bit, and talk about, you spoke about doing some work with the mentoring program, you know, in the juveniles.
Yeah.
I want to switch gears to kind of talk about the work that you've done within the department. I know you've worked within YVAC, you know, you do some work with the DEI, you know. Tell me a little bit about that and some of the different things, you know, and I know you ain't gotta be too specific because, you know, I want DHS to come at me, you know, but, you know, tell me what that has done for you and what you've seen that do for others in that space that you've been working in.
Yeah, working with these babies and these children made me a better man. I've had the opportunity to, you know, like you said, the BIPOC children. Quite honestly, I've human trafficking victims, the babies that's in the juvenile detention facilities and residential facilities. You know, I've had an opportunity to engage with these children. These children made me look at myself and do a lot of soul searching. And these children have enlightened me and just exposed me to so much, man. I honestly thank God every day, honestly, to work with these kids, man, because these kids, they give me a lot of game as well. So I love what I do. You know, the work that we do is tough, and I want to give a huge shout out to everyone within the whole MDHS. But God bless everyone, the Children's Service Administration, especially within the BSC5, Wayne, Oakland, Kent, Macomb, Genesee. The work that we do is crucial, and these babies need us. And God bless y'all. 10 toes down, we got this, most definitely. But yeah, the work is I'm be honest, it can be emotionally exhausting. But when you get the babies that get it, and that gravitate towards what you say, and you see that things that you've helped them with or exposed them to, they go to the next level with it. That's everything. So that I've cried tears of sadness and tears of joy all in the same breath doing this work. Honestly,
Definitely.
yeah, for sure, for sure.
I was speaking. There's a recently took on a new job.
Mm-hmm.
I was speaking to them, and I was like, look, as we are building this team, getting to know one another, I need y'all to know, like, secondary trauma is real.
Absolutely,
You know,
absolutely,
if you need to tap out, I'm here for you. I'm gonna support you. Because that's how we help and support one another in the
absolutely.
space. Originally this is getting ready to work at a juvenile facility.
Yep,
To give you guys a little bit of context, you like tap out. What you mean tap out? No, but like it's literally you have to support one another.
absolutely, absolutely.
And I believe that's same when it comes to DHS and many other nonprofit, child welfare, social welfare spaces that you see so much. And even though in the trainings, the staff meetings, they be like, just make sure you don't take it home with you.
Yeah,
You
easier
take that,
said than done.
that thing, you put that thing on like a backpack when you
Yep,
get out,
yep,
and it is
yep.
there. And you looking at it, it's looking at you.
Absolutely.
You have to find ways draw that line. And I believe, for those individuals who are in school, getting ready to go to these places, I would say for the first couple of months, you will take it home until you learn what works for you to draw that line and self-care and balance.
Mm-hmm.
But that's a skill in itself, and that still does not guarantee, you not being exposed to secondary trauma even then,
Absolutely.
because it's a lot,
Mm-hmm.
So I'm a firm believer, and I say this, and I know some people are like, no, Michael, you're wrong, what have you, but I believe there is an expiration date to working in fields with secondary trauma, and I believe that individuals, there are special people that are uniquely built for these spaces, but also you have to think about self and managing and longevity, especially you got kids, you got fat, all this other stuff,
Mm-hmm.
and I always tend to ask people, I haven't asked nobody on here, but you're gonna be the first person.
Okay, for sure.
What is knowing that this field, takes a lot, weighs a lot on the mental,
Yeah.
and the physical at times.
Yeah.
Um, what is your next? What is your end goal? What is your emotional 401k?
That's a good question. Because I think, I mean, I want to tell the story how I gained the weight to answer that question. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So when I got to DHS, I was around 190 pounds. As when I started CPS, and then, like you said, that secondary trauma. Then when I transferred to foster care in Wayne County, when I came back home, God knows the things that we experience on a day-to-day basis. And that cause I was drinking every day, drinking. Eventually, people who know, I got up to 356 pounds. December 2021, I was that heavy when I caught COVID. So when I caught COVID, I almost checked out. I lost about 50 pounds in 2 weeks in the recovery process. When I got back down to 300 pounds from there, I just kind of just looked myself in the mirror like, man, God gave you a second chance again. And then from there, I just got back on my health kick, juicing, vegetables, a lot of fasting. And then I walked daily. And then from there, slowly but surely, I got up above me. I got on scale today. I'm 198. So we almost back. But anything is possible. And that's where the saying, ain't no 2 days the same, come from. So to answer your question, the emotional, I always felt like I was built for the long run. So I'm here for as long as I need to fulfill the mission at hand. And then when it's time for me to transition on, it'll happen. But in terms of leading by example, I'm not saying I'm the best, but I'm trying to be consistent, and that consistency go a long way. So I guess to answer your question, I'm just gonna continue to just go the long haul because these children need me as much as I need them. So
Definitely.
yeah, honestly.
I appreciate that answer. I definitely do.
Yeah.
Um,
I hope I answered it.
no, you did. You did. I appreciate it. You know, it really ain't no it ain't no good or bad answer.
Yeah.
It's really just your answer, you
Yeah.
know. And I appreciate that because, like I said, being in this field, I believe that in other fields too, but particularly working in child welfare, it takes a special, unique kind of person
Mm-hmm.
to to do the job right.
Absolutely.
And I'm gonna clarify. I hope I ain't make nobody mad, but if I did, oh well. Anyway, but it's real. It's
Yeah.
real. Some people are doing a job, but are you doing the job right?
Mm-hmm.
Anybody can do this. Function at a job, but the
How
key
are
is
you connecting?
yeah.
Are you connecting with the youth?
Mm-hmm.
Are you just here just to get a couple dollars and get on about your way?
Yeah,
That's a rhetorical question for those who listen.
definitely, definitely. Um, as I get ready to end, I only got a couple more questions for you.
Man, the pleasure, man, bro.
Look,
We
look,
here
couple
all
more
day.
questions for you. You know, um, you've had a journey,
Yeah.
and you've had a journey from childhood to to your teens,
Yeah.
to your young adulthood to your seasoned adulthood,
Yeah. Yeah. They call me
um,
Unk now.
definitely, definitely. So I know I asked it in the aspect of self-care and mental
Yeah.
health, but I'm asking in a different way towards, and go, is there anything else that you would like to complete, to do, in the aspect of helping the youth? And yeah,
Um, I, I feel blessed because I feel like I hit my end goal early. My honest to God truth. I say this all the time. I just wanted to submit my name in the concrete where I'm from, but somebody that they seen turn it around and actually do something with his life that was positive. And that at this point, I'm gonna be quite honest. I didn't mentor children at every level of the educational system, help youth transition to higher education. I did everything that I kind of set out to do in terms of being an inspiration to the young children where I'm from. That was my only thing I ever wanted to do. I was able to accomplish that at a young age. So I'm just happy to be here and see what else God has in store for me. Um, I've never in my life thought I'd be on a podcast talking about all the things, well, not all of them, but a little thing with you, having the pleasure talking to you with the man who's resilient. I got the utmost respect for you, bro. Lord have mercy. You did you know what I mean? Like, no, I'm happy to be here with you, bro. So I never thought I'd be in a position to talk about the work that I've done, being a part of the DEI teams, having an opportunity to speak to hundreds of people on these different calls and presenting about different work I did in the community. I never in a million years thought I'd be able to do that. You know, I flunked out of school, if I would have listened to the people in the stand, so to speak, I still be, God knows where I'll be. So no, I'm just happy to be here with you. I'm happy to just be here and just thank God. I'm really, really thankful, honestly.
definitely, definitely. I appreciate that.
Thank you, man. For real.
You've let us into your life and your journey, and even though the journey is still continuing, um, you mentioned unique moments in your story, where you reflected and, said, I'm gonna be a failure to now stepping into purpose, having to endure sacrifice to get to the destination, being steadfast,
Yeah.
sometimes standing still and taking heed of that moment.
Yeah.
Uh, I'm gonna ask you one more time before
All
I
right.
get to my next question.
Please. Please, bro.
And was it worth it?
Absolutely. it's them 2 steps. I always say you gotta take 2 steps back, take 10 forward. Them 2 steps back, whatever they may be, they gonna hurt, but it's just gonna be worth it in the end, you know. You talking about gut wrenching losses I done took, disappointment, setbacks. I'd have been to more funerals than I've been to graduations.
Mm.
To just endure all of that and to be here and talk about it, bro, it was absolutely worth it. God most definitely had a plan for me. And definitely got a plan for you too. Ain't no 2 days the same. For real. For real.
Look. So y'all, we was talking before this, like, you know, just kind of kicking to getting to know each other, you know, planning for the episode, and we just talking, and he said, ain't no 2 days the same. I was like, well, I guess that's gonna be the quote right there, you know, that's it right there.
For real.
But it's so real. It's so real, you know. I appreciate how authentic you are, you know. I know you have been a tremendous impact, and you know, I want to thank you on behalf of all the lives, you know, individuals that were like me, you know. I wish, you know, I'm just being honest, I wish I had a worker, you know, that was like you. You know, I had workers that failed me, you know, and I don't think that those were inherently bad people. I just think that, you know, maybe the field wasn't for them. Maybe they had things happening at home. Multitude of events could have happened, but you know, I appreciate hearing the work that you've done on yourself to prepare for the work that you're doing for others. You know, because that's where it starts. It got to start with us.
Yes, sir.
You know, and that's why I appreciate your answer when I asked you, you know, what's your emotional 401k, you know, and you tell me, you know, you kind of feel like you built for this, and you know, you did a lot of work before you took this job.
Yeah.
And still did some work once you got, you know, so you know, you built the endurance, you know, and I hope that, you know, you continue this race as long as you are able to, you know, because there's a lot of youth out there that need you. With that being said, any advice that you would like to leave here today?
Yeah. It depends. It depends on what we talking about. But for the sake of this, I would say that vision to the babies that can hear me, that vision that you got in your mind, it'll come to fruition. Just go for it. You go through things, but it's gonna be worth it. You know, no matter, never lose the ability to reinvent yourself. You know, constantly put in work, spiritual, physical, mental. Your diet is just more than what you put in your mouth, it's what you're putting in your brain. Take care of yourself, love yourself, and be easy on yourself, because we all growing, we all learning. I'm not perfect. God knows I'm not, and that's why I share my stories, all the failures and mess ups, to the baby, so they can know I'm human. You know, they see me. I want them to know that they can do it too. You know, I got earrings, I got tattoo sleeves, I got tattoos on my hands, but you can still go for something and make something of yourself. So I just want to say thank you, bro. That means everything. Thank you for having me. God bless you, and you are inspiration to us as well. For real, 10 toes.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Any last comments? And this is the space. If you got a rap song, pop album, R&B, I don't know. You know, you got any way that people can connect with you, you know. Yeah.
Yeah. Instagram and Facebook, No Beloved. That's my two nicknames, No, JNO. And then Beloved, BELOVED, No Beloved on both. You just type it in, it'll pop up. And LinkedIn, Jonathan Norris. You can catch me just on there, just posting inspirational things. Catch me out in the community, show me love, give me a hug. It's love this way, most definitely. And I want to say thank you, bro. Thank you again for having me. I mean, this was just my pleasure, my honor. Thank you.
Definitely. And if you don't mind, I want to share something unique about me and you.
Please.
So when we connected, you know, he was like, man, you know, I remember you were in my, you know, thing, my training.
In my
Like, hey, look, I'm knowing me, y'all know my memory. I'm like, oh yeah. So, you know, I like when I talked about I still do it to today, but back then before COVID, we used to go in person, whether it be in Lansing or the Cadillac building downtown,
Yep.
and speak to the new incoming workers when they were doing their CWTI training.
Yep.
And every once in a while, because I've been doing it for so long,
Yep.
I come across individuals, they be like, look, you made a dent in how I did, my job. I remember what you said. Somebody came up to me and said, I remember when you said keep snacks on you, and they keep snacks on you. And it's so enriching because we oftentimes you just floating and you just doing the work and you don't know how much of an impact you are leaving. But if your heart is truly in it, you just like, I'm just trying to do it. I'm trying to help people.
Yep.
And every so often, somebody come and remind you, and I believe it's God. God sent you that person the right time to just let you know, like, look, keep fighting. So I appreciate it. But I wanted to say that because there's been a unique few social workers I've had on here. I know there's a lot of individuals thinking about going into social work. And if you're thinking about going in the child welfare realm, look through the episodes I've had, find those individuals, reach out to them and ask them for some advice. Whether you are finishing out your master's program, whatever you're doing, ask them. And they will tell you the honest truth, what you should expect, and what you're going through. But I want to say that because I think we need to do more of connecting with one another and setting each other for success, not failure. And not just for the individuals who are going into social work, but I've had some people on here that are working in nonprofits, doing data, many different things. If something like that relates to you and what you're in school for right now, what you aspire to do, reach out to them. I'm not asking them how how people can connect with you and them for no reason. I'm asking for you guys' benefit because I want there to be, some level of connection, to help you guys out, and most of these people are willing to answer a question, to give you some advice, to point you to a resource. It could be a Quizlet that they use in college. I don't know.
Yeah, for sure.
But utilize it. I remember being young in residential, and I knew that I wanted to be somewhere. So there was times where we used to go to different events, like the Michigan Teen Conference. I made sure I had everybody's card in that room.
Yep.
I still have those cards.
Yes, sir.
In creating this podcast, I called people, and building my advocacy and my MDDT Speaks, I called those people. And most of those people remember who I was, so take time to build those connections, network, build a village. If you don't have no family, look, I empathize with you, but it ain't an excuse.
Yes, sir.
It ain't an excuse.
Your network is your net worth. Yeah, absolutely. Tap in. I'm sorry to cut you off. Anybody that's listening, reach out to me. I'm a regular guy. I'm approachable. Just holler at me. We can talk about whatever, anything, and please, I am here. Thank you.
Definitely. It's truly an honor and a privilege to have you on. I thank you so much for the work that you're doing. We gonna connect after this.
You know that. You know that. Yes, sir.
But as I get ready to end, there's a few things I have to say. As a disclaimer, there's been some things that we've talked about in here that I know that can be inherently triggering to some folks. Absolutely. It can bring back some flashbacks, or different things that you've been through. My goal here is not to cause anybody a panic attack, but it's to talk about the real. I wouldn't be who I am if I didn't be authentic in what I'm sharing here. With that being said, if you are in your own home, coming to your house, heading to work, listening to this, take some time, do some deep breathing,
Take
practice
your
some
time.
mindfulness exercise, get yourself back to baseline,
Yep.
before you go do that next activity, because this could be a lot
Yep.
to hear, to listen to.
Yep.
But also, even if it's nothing that raises your blood pressure, just take some time to decompress and debrief from what you just heard. This is a lot, you know. And for most of my episodes, it do be a lot, you know. Just take some time to really just like, wow, I heard that,
Yep.
and ask yourself some questions, do some reflection. Also, outside of that, if it's something, for you guys, individuals who've been through some abuse, some neglect, childhood trauma, and you had a moment where one of those walls within your head broke down, and now you like, dang, I didn't know or remember that I went through this.
Mm-hmm.
If you are wanting to find those different resources to start that healing journey,
Yep.
feel free to reach out to me. I would love to help you find those resources in your city, in your state that, can help you, whether it's therapy, group support, whatever you need, I would love to help you do that so you're not doing it alone. Outside of that, it's getting cold outside. Cold and flu season, COVID season is coming up.
Y'all better
please.
quit playing and layer up. It's about to get chilly.
I try to tell you,
be
careful. Be careful. Get your hand sanitizer, get your PPE, get your antibacterial, soap, be mindful. Be mindful. Please. And I'm gonna say it, hopefully nobody get mad, but if you do, so well. Hand sanitizer, it tells you on most of the bottles, kills 99.9% germs. So there's still a percent of germs on your hand. So don't be using hand sanitizer like it's supplements for you actually washing your hands. Go wash your hands, please.
Please and thank you.
Trying to tell you.
Please and thank
you. Take care of you.
Thank you kindly.
Take care of all of us. We all are a part of this village.
Yep.
Y'all hear me say it a lot, but our lives are so intertwined more than you may think. I may say something today, it's going to impact somebody all the way in China. Yep. I don't know, I can't make this up, y'all. So just be, conscious, be intentional, keep yourself safe. With that being said, I have to say this, unfortunately, but fortunately, I can no longer pour from an empty cup. I'm at a place in the transition of my life, where I've been solely, building this podcast, paying for the subscriptions and different things like that. But due to certain life events that have happened recently, I can't anymore. And I'm reaching out to my supports, reaching out to the followers that listen to this. I have a GoFundMe up. It's set for $2,000. I believe GoFundMe takes a percent out of it. And once I did the math, I believe for $1,999 is what I'll be left with, which should cover 2 years of year subscriptions for the podcast.
Yep.
So I won't have to worry about that. It also will cover equipment maintenance. And mainly that equipment maintenance is for my computer. I don't have an outlandish setup where the desktop is. I've been using my laptop. All my episodes is on my laptop. And I have to make sure that it has a storage and everything is straight, so it takes time to get clean, make sure no viruses, all these different things that I have to pay for to make sure that I have quality content for you guys. And I hate using like quality content because I believe what we do here is so much than just entertainment, so much more than entertainment, but to help individuals heal. But for the definition sake, content is what I'm going to use. I also have, on Cash App, specifically for, MDD Speaks and Resilient Voices and Beyond. You guys can find that on any of my social media platforms. I'm reaching out to you guys because I need your guys' help. I'm going to keep recording until I can't record no more because of subscription's sake. But I will let you guys know, but I need your guys' support. With that being said, as we don't end on a positive note.
Yep.
once again, I appreciate you being on here, brother. It's truly an honor and a privilege. Well, we gonna have to have you back. We'll have to do like a round table or something, kind of group conversation with some other guys I've had on here. We can just kick it and talk about some things. But also, me and you we got to connect. So
You already know that's done. It's done.
definitely, definitely.
Yeah,
So with
so
that being said, I hope you guys have a good morning, good night, good whenever you listen to this. This has been Resilient Voices Season 3, Episode 23, the 112th episode. Thank you guys. Talk to you guys soon.
thank you.